shipmates, how you be? Yes, it's time for Pirate School number 4. Arr, happy, right? We're back, and we're still learning how to be cutthroat pirates, but friendly like. Ah, that's right, I need some more people for my crew, for the good ship Beatrice, right? In these times of isolation, it's hard for me to recruit new crew, because I can't get close to them. So I'm going the old-fashioned way of on Facebook and stuff like that, and on CBTV. So you can tune in and find out all these secrets and how to be a sailor. So you can come work for me, or maybe some other pirate that you know around the place, you know. Maybe there's a pirate lives across the road from you. You know, we'll see what happens. But anyway, now, what are we going to learn about today? I think we just better start with the basics again, just so it solidifies in your head, right? Get it in your noggin. All right, so here, what sound do we make? Come on, everybody. Remember, we're going to try and shiver these timbers. Come on. Give them a good shiver with a big arrrr. Pretty good, but I think we can do better than that. Give me an arrrr. Arrrr. Give me another arrrr. Arrrr. Put them all together in a nice spell. Arrrr. That's the way. Good job. Right, now, who remembers how to stand like a pirate? All right, hands on hips, head in the air, and laugh. That'd be good. Give me an aye, aye, Captain. Aye, aye, Captain. I love it when you say that. Remember, aye, aye means yes, yes. We covered that last week, didn't we? Yes, yes, Captain. And first, hold still. Oh, good job. Now, who remembers their port from their starboard, right? Remember, port's this side here. Starboard's this side. Port. See on the same on this one? So the other side of the harbour is where you're loading in. And the steering side, that's the starboard, right? And up front, that's the bow. Down there, that's the aft. Love something like that, don't you? Aft. Right, now, last week, we talked about cannons. You remember that? Firing the big guns, exciting stuff. But it was getting a bit long in the tooth, so I cut out the bit about the actual cannon shells, the things we fire. I talked about the round shot, right, a bit. Saying it was about that size, you know, with a 6-pounder and all that kind of stuff, right? But basically, there's lots of different types of shells for different types of purposes. As a pirate, we got 3 basic ones we use. The round shot, right, which is for long distances and for attacking land and stuff, where you got to smash things up and all that kind of stuff. But for my actual job, right, for our actual job, when we're trying to get a ship, the 2 we use the most, all right, are the chain and ball and the grape and canister, right? They're the 2 we use, the grape and canister and the chain and ball. Because, again, remember we got a fast ship and we hang around the shallows and we catch up to them by surprise. We come in from behind them when they're going into the wind and we chase them up and we cut them down, right? So we want to get as close as we can to them, right? And we want them to stop so we can board them and then we can get all their treasure. Because if we use the round shot and we sink them, all the treasure goes to the bottom of the sea. That ain't good to us, is it? Because we're not going to be diving down there or anything like that. We got no diving bell or anything like that. They got on those Newfoundland and things that you go down and get it all with submarines, all that kind of rubbish. No Leonardo da Vinci here. We've just got the old-fashioned way of boarding the ship and stealing everything they got, and then taking off and leaving them to get their own way home, right? That's how we do it. So, what we do is we get them there into the wind, we catch them as well as we can. Then, the shells, right, they're called the chain and ball. They're like 2 shells together, but they're held together like with a chain or a little bar, right? Okay, chain and bar, I should have said before. That's like chain and bar, okay? So what happens when they get shot out of the cannon? They spin. And they'll go, and they'll hit the mast, right? And they can take it down a mast because they wrap around the mast that way and they pull it over and they can crack it. Or they can go through sails and they rip the sails. So that's the kind of way that sort of stops them from their progress, right? And the same sort of thing for the canisters. So you'll start with a chain and ball, trying to hit their sails and all that kind of stuff, and slow them down, give them troubles. You might even hit the wheel, destroy their wheel. You do all sorts of damage with that thing because it's spinning around. Nobody knows where it goes. You don't have to be so accurate. You can do all that. It's a good job like that. Now, the grape and canister is pretty much, you know, grapes, and they got little seeds in it. You get the seeded grapes, like that. So when you crush down, the seeds come out. That's the same idea, right? So it's a canister full of small bits of metal and all sorts of stuff, and the narrow balls, if we do the balls, okay? So what happens when we're close? We fire that, and it rips everything apart, because it just spreads out, and it goes through, and so it shreds all the sails and all that kind of stuff. And while they're in shock, that's when we board them, right? And that's the tactics of how we do it. Which leads me to today's tool. We're talking about today's tool is my flintlock pistol, right? There we go. A flintlock pistol, that's it. All right, you can see it there. A flintlock pistol is today's tool we're going to examine because that's what we use. Now, a flintlock pistol, I've just got one with me today, right? Just one. But normally I'd carry what's called a brace. A brace means 2. all right? 2 is enough. You carry too many more, you'll be clunky. Because again, we're in and out quick, right? We don't go over to the ship, right? You don't want to have too many. And they can only fire 1 shot at a time. They're not like those modern things like you see on telly where they just shoot all the time. These ones you get 1 shot, right? And they're not real accurate, these either, right? Because they don't have rifling in them, okay? The modern guns have these rifling that makes them more accurate. These are only accurate over about 10 yards, all right? So they're pretty quick. And I'm running forward, so 2 shots and I'm pretty much done, and then I'm in with the cutlass, all right? That's what the cutlass is for. That's our main tool, the cutlass. You remember the cutlass? That's it there. So I'll have that nut on, the pistol's there, the brace of them there, and you'd fire them twice, all right? Even though they're not accurate, the good thing about them not having rifling, right, is that we can make our own shot, okay? So we can melt down the lead in little molds, and we make the little balls that go with them, right? And we get the powder, we make our own powder. So we're self-sufficient, right? So we don't have to pop off to the shop to get them and all this kind of thing, get the fancy loads and all that kind of stuff. We can do all our own stuff, okay? And that's when you're out in the sea and you're a pirate after all, you're not really going to drop in a shop because they'll recognise you. You know, they say, oh, that guy there, that patch is very familiar. Arr. But we don't want that, do we? No. So flintlock, this is it, right? So flintlock, 2 words, what do they mean? Well, basically a flint is a really hard stone, and then people used to use it to fire. It's not fire, you hit it off metal, and you'd start a fire, it gets sparks. When the flint hits the metal, the sparks. So the old days, they used to light fires, like they'd be out there and you have your flint and you rock and you go, and the spark would come up, right? So flint is a really hard stone. And so that's the way it works, right? And a lock is a mechanism, like the locks on your house and all that kind of stuff, and locks where you're getting through water channels and all that kind of stuff. So a lock is just a type of mechanism. So flint, lock, because it's a lock with flint. If you look at this, right, let's get in close. That's my flintlock, you see? Now, you cock that back, half cock it, right? You see just sticking out the top there, that's the bit of flint. So there's a bit here, screw up here I can undo, and I can replace the flint when it gets a bit small and tiny, right? That. And then it hits, this causes a fission, this thing here, right? So it hits that, and that's what causes the spark. Into the pan, this is just there, and that is where the powder goes to ignite, and then it goes. And so that's why it's called the pan. So we've heard the expression, flash in the pan, right? So if I was to click it and it just flashed and didn't fire, that's a flash in the pan, something that's short-lived and all that kind of stuff. That's where that expression comes from, flash in the pan. Also, when you're loading, you put it half-cocked like that. See, that's half-cocked, that's full-cocked, right? So when it's half-cocked, you don't want to go when it's half-cocked. So that's the expression, oh, don't go off half-cocked. Well, that's what it is. You don't want to go half-cocked because you're still loading it and you're not getting the full impact of it and probably won't spark enough and all that sort of stuff, right? So how do you load it? Well, a lot of these ones, right, people have things called a powder horn and a bag of shells. They'd have those, and they would just fill it with all powder, and they got the rammer and all that, and they should put the shells and ram it down, that kind of thing, and then a wadding. But that takes a bit of time. So me, right, I use the way that's common amongst one people, like, because I get it, mostly I'm going to go in with the 2 ones loaded, okay? But if I need to do emergency, I've got a few of these in my person, right? Spirited away. Now they're a little got a shell in them, right? Got the bullet in it, the little round bullet, and enough powder to fire it. Okay, so I've got these little pouches I've made up with paper and stuff, right? So what I do is I bite the end of that, put a little bit of powder in there, in the pan, right? I put it in there, I get the rammer, I shove it down like that, the rammer, it's down there, and then it's ready to go. You do a full cock, and you can fire, right? That's how we load it. Okay, that's a lot quicker, so I do that. If I need an emergency thing, that. So you remember that? That's how it goes. Now, when you've got it loaded, how do you fire it? Okay, so it's fully cocked now, ready to go. So this one, because see the shape of it? It doesn't have a round handle like that, and you see those guys shooting down here or like this and all that kind of stuff. This one actually follows the length of your arm, right? So you can hold your arm up, straight up to your eye, and you should look down your arm, and that's how you aim it, like that. So you look like that, you go ready, bang, and you fire that way, all right? That's how you see where it's going to. So it's like that, bang. I won't fire directly at you because you might get offended by that kind of thing. But that's how it works, right? So that's a flintlock pistol, another one of our great tools. All right, now, interesting enough, I'll put the gun down there so I don't drop it when we do the next bit, because we're going to be doing our jumping around bit soon, right? We don't be jumping around, dropping pistols everywhere. Oh, that's the other thing. When you're at sea and stuff like that, you probably wouldn't have your gun loaded, right? Like, the paper and the wadding will keep it jammed in there a bit, right, when you're in an emergency. But you don't want to have it just sitting there where it might go off and get wet too, because that's one of the things. You've got to look after your guns, right? You want to keep them dry and keep the powder dry and all. You know heard about keep the powder dry. That's another one, keeping the powder dry. You don't get it wet, all right, because it's no good to you wet, because you don't want it not to fire. and you got to maintain your gun and look after it, and you don't want to clean between it and all that kind of stuff. That's why pretty much with 2 shots, thing like that, things aren't working, we leave again, right? We don't need to be there if we got to do too much work, we don't want to be there. We're pirates, we're not hard working, we just do our jobs and we get out of there, right? And that's the other reason why I've not got time to make these little powder keg things there, is because as a sailor, right, you're not working all the time. We do shifts, same as anything else. But when you're not on shift, right, so you got 8 hours on, 8 hours off, that kind of thing, 8 hours sleeping, right, to make a whole 24 hours. But that 8 hours you're off, what do you do with your time? You know, you're on a ship, you can't do much, you can't go out to shops, you can't do nothing. So you sing and you do all sorts of things. You do make artworks with like, ropes and stuff like that, and I make these shells and do that, so I'm ready to fight when the time comes. That's where you go, right? Now, we had a few words there, a few phrases that you know. Well, some of you know, and your parents definitely know those. So let's go a few more of them, and I can tell you how they came from pirating and shipping and all those. Oh, so cut and run. You heard about cutting and running? Well, that's pretty much as it sounds, right? So we were talking about creeping up on the ships. If the ship was at anchor like this, right, like the Beatrice sitting there at anchor, right, and they saw us coming up behind them, they saw the pirate there, and they got no time to get their anchor up. It takes a while to get an anchor up, and I'll show you that in a minute too, because we're going to do anchor raising in a minute. Takes you a while to get up. So what they do is they cut and run. They get their cutlasses, they cut the rope to the anchor, and they would just take off. That's where cut and run comes from, right? So what else have we got? Hard and fast. That's another good one. Hard and fast. You heard about hard and fast rules, right? Rules you can't change. Well, that comes from when you run aground. Like if you don't know where you're going, sometimes you know what, you might go in where it's too shallow, right? If you haven't got a good hydrographer, that's somebody that measures the height of the bottom of the sea to the top of the water. I had a relative that did that, you know. All right, it's called Captain Freddy's name was, that's right. Anyway, hydrographer, right? So you don't want them because you want to know when you have your little maps. But if somebody's done a bad job of it, or it's a place that nobody's been, sometimes you can run aground, right? And what happens is, if you're floating around really hard and you run aground, boom, you get stuck. And it's called getting stuck hard and fast. And fast is you can't move, right? So there's a whole other story about getting it off then. But that's where that comes from, hard and fast. Right, and the other one I'm going to do today is pipe down. I'm sure your parents have told you to pipe down, or maybe your grandparents say, pipe down in there, pipe down. Well, that is pretty much what it sounds like as well. Because pipe, remember our pipe, the boatswain's whistle, right? You remember that? Right, well, end of the day, right? End of the day, when the night watch is taken over and all that sort of stuff, and it's time to go to bed, what happens is the boatswain does the last piping of the day, which is piping them down, which really means go down to your bed, turn the lights off and go to sleep and be quiet. So that's what it is. That's where it comes from. Pipe down is actually old shipping words, and we pirates do it as well. So pipe down, that's what they do when they say that. Pretty good, eh? Now give me an arr! Arr! Good job, I thought I'd catch you out then. Very good. Okay, now, you know, it's still the same with sailors, right? We still try to call things what they are. We don't try and trick you. Okay, so it makes it easy to learn. That's a good thing about learning pirating and all that, because it's pretty easy to remember, right? Because even the middle ships, you've been out on the beach and seen those boats out to sea, the big ones, the big container ships and stuff like that, and the big freighters and big oil tankers. You see them out there when you look out. Next time you're on the headlands and stuff like that, you look out and you see those boats, right? Well, there are 3 basic sizes that cover those. They're like a bit of a range in the sizes, but there are 3 basic categories they have there, right? So there's handy size. So that's a small size, right? Because it's handy for going up and down the coast and dumping into smaller harbours, and you can drop smaller loads off and all that kind of stuff. So it's handy, easy to go, right? Makes sense. Handy size, good one to put. Next size up, this sounds more technical. It's Panamax. That sounds like a big technical word, doesn't it? Actually, what it means is that's the maximum size boat that can go through the Panama Canal, which is like in the Americas, they got the 2 bits of the Americas, and it goes all through the thin bit, right? In Panama, and they cut through. So boats can go through there and don't have to go all the way around down the bottom. All right? So they call that Panamax. Because if you're any bigger than Panamax, you can't go that way. You have to go around the bottom. So what do they call the big ships that go around the bottom? They call them cape size, because the bottom's called the cape. So you got to go round the cape. So they're cape size. Makes sense, doesn't it? And how easy is that to remember? You can impress your teachers with that, because that sounds really technical. Sounds like you know a lot. And it's just pirating. Good job. Stand and laugh like a pirate. Excellent. Now, right, we're going to cover something to do with the wind, because pirating's all about the wind, isn't it, right? Okay? Now, you know, we talk port and starboard and all that sort of sides, but there's other ways of referring to the ship, right? And it refers to the wind. there's a windward side of a ship and a leeward side of a ship. But that doesn't stay the same as in your left and your right, okay? But it stays the same about how you work it out, okay? So the windward side of the ship is the way the wind's coming from, all right? So if the wind's coming towards us like this, that side of the ship is the windward side, right? That's blowing across us that way. That's the windward side. And this side of the ship, where the wind's going to, that's the leeward side, all right? So it's the leeward's where the wind's going to, windward's where it's coming from. So if you were going to come to it, we're in a jolly boat, pull up the side, we'd want to get on the leeward side because the big boat would protect us and we wouldn't be banging in against the thing all the time, right? And we just float with the ship because we're on the leeward side. So that's how you get in the ship from a jolly boat, right? Now, a lee tide, right? You heard that, you might have heard that, a lee tide. Well, lee tide is when the wind and the tide are going the same way. So the leeward tide is going that way, all right? So when the tide's going in and the wind's going across there towards the harbour, that's the leeward tide, all right? What else is there? There's the lee shore, right? All right? The lee shore, again, so if we're sailing the Beatrice, right? You see the Beatrice here. You see the shore's over that side. If the wind's coming from this side, that would be the lee side. It's the side of the harbour, right? That's on the windward, the way the wind's going to, all right? That's where it is, the lee side. And that's the side you've got to watch out for, right? Because the wind's going to push you across towards it. So you've got to watch out for rocks and things that way in case you get pushed across too close to the rocks. And that's how you know when you're going to tack and all that kind of stuff. Because, you know, you want to tack away because you don't want to get too close to the coast. But, you know, that's what you got. You'd have the guy up on the crow's nest, remember that, right? And you'd have somebody out here on the bowsprit up there. You'd have somebody at the front, keeping an eye on it, making sure you weren't going to run into anything, right? And they would tell you that kind of thing. But that's the leeward shore, right? So you want to be careful about the leeward shore. And you might have heard the expression leeway. You know, give me some leeway on that, you know, which means give me a bit of room on it and all that kind of stuff. Well, leeway is how far you'll slide that way with the wind, right? So again, if you're sailing that way and you're getting pushed along, the leeway is how far you're going to go before you're going to attack to go back the other way. You're turning or head back that way across the wind so you don't get washed in there. Or if you put an anchor in, the leeway is how far you'll get pushed across by the water, all right, and the wind. That way, that's the leeway is how much you would go across. So you wouldn't want to have a really long anchor rope on because you could wash onto the shore or something like that. So if you were in somewhere close, you'd want a short anchor rope and that kind of stuff. Other times you could have longer and all that kind of stuff. But the leeway is how far you rock backwards and forwards, all right? So you've learned some more. Okay, now we're up to some more shantying. I hear you say, or maybe you go, no, don't let him sing again. No, I'm sorry. But like I was saying, sea shanties is how we work, all right? That's how we work. So we have different types of sea shanties, right? There's 5 different types we're going to talk about, right? So I'm only going to sing one and only a few verses, right? But it gives you the idea of why we sing them and all that sort of stuff, okay? So there's the short haul ones, all right? So they're quick and fast. For jobs that are quick, we'd sing them along the way. That would be so it would have that kind of rhythm because you're hoisting one of the jib or something small or something like that. So you'd sing that song, right? It makes the working easy when you sing a song, right? Or a long haul song would be if we were going to raise a big heavy sail with a mast like that. If we're going to lift that all the way up, it'd be a long haul tide, right? And that's slow and has brakes in it, right? Because it'd be doing that kind of stuff. The next one is the capstan, right? The capstan ones, right? Which I'll cover a bit more in a minute because we're going to sing a capstan one, right? That's what we're going to go with. And I'll tell you what a capstan is. It's really the device you raise the anchor with, right? And it's a big, slow job, right? So you need brakes in that. So it's a kind of call and responsey type one with brakes and things like that. So we're going to do that one now because we haven't tried one of them really before. We just talked about it a bit, so we're going to do that. The other 2 types is the forecastle one, right? Now the forecastle one is basically the forecastle the way you're sleeping and stuff like that, okay? So that's when you go back and, you know, I was saying before, you got all that time. What do? We like to sing songs. Sorry, a little bit of rope in the patch there. All right, we like to sing songs. That's what I want to do, right? So we sing a few songs, and they're all happy ones and about adventures and love and just funny, right? They're the kind of ones, yeah, there's a laugh and well, you stand and go, that kind of thing, right? That's what you do with a folk song. And the other type are whaling songs. And they're just dang depressing because being a whaler is dang depressing. You know, you're all that smelly oil and all that kind of stuff. You're on the boat for ages and you're probably going to get eaten by a whale and all that kind of stuff. So they're all about grief and horror and all that sort of stuff. Them whalers are whingers. So we don't really worry about them in pirates because we're happy sort of old pirates. That's why we laugh. Give me an arr! Good job. Right, now the capstan. What is a capstan? Right. Well, capstan's how you raise the oar, or the anchor, right? So you see that? Does that make sense to you there? So it's a big thing in the middle, You see those bits of wood, right? They actually get pulled out. So you just see the squats there, and the rope goes around it. We put those in there. We get different men on all of them, right? And then the men, like that, all right, up, sideways. This is the right way. See, you get on them, and you push, and you walk around in a circle, right? You just walk around. So I've got this bit of stick here that we used last week, all right? So that gets shoved in, and you're walking around like that to lift it up. But you need to do it everybody in time, okay? Because if one person pushes and the other one stands there, that ain't gonna work. It's not gonna go round. People are gonna get upset with each other. They're gonna fight. You get other sticks. We talked about that on the boats, you know. So you need people to work together. So how do we do that? We sing, all right? And we sing the working songs, okay? So, and this one has a rest in it. So you sing and rest. So I'll just go through the first verse, right? Do that, and then you can have a go. So you get call and response. So I go, come on, ye say fellows that follow the sea. And then I yell, and this is what the bosun would do. We go, to me. And then it goes, way, hey, blow the man down. And that's where we're pushing, all right? Now, please pay attention and listen to me. Go, give me some time to blow the man down. Way, hey, blow the man down. All right, and then we rest again, all right? So whenever I do we all do the chorus together. So that's the, to me, way, hey, blow the man down. To me is the call to action. Then way, hey, blow the man down. And then it's, give me some time to blow the man down. Way, hey, blow the man down. That's when we're pushing and rest in between, right? So when you do that, you have a bit of a break. So we're going round and round in circles as we do it. And relying on the circles, once you finish the first, right, we should be round back where we started. Now, what I'll get you to do, right, okay, is so when I'm singing the chorus bits, the way, hey, blow the man down, and give me some time to blow the man down. Basically, the blow the down bits, that's your bits, all right? You sing them out loud, you get a bit of stick, all right? Could be a wooden spoon or anything. Pretend you're pushing. And I want you to go round in circles, like that, while we're singing, okay? Me, I'm just going to go there and pretend I'm going round in circles, because if I turn around, that's pretty rude and all that sort of stuff. You don't want to see the back of me. Well, maybe you want to see the back of the whole pirate school and things, but then again, you wouldn't have to click on if you want to do that, would you? So I don't know what you're doing there anyway. If you still want to be a pirate, this is what you do. So we're doing the captain, right? And we're pushing, but we're doing it in time with the song, all right? Can you do that with me? I didn't hear that. Can you do that with me? What do we say? Aye, aye, Captain. That's right. You ready? Can you do that with me? Aye, aye, Captain. Good job. Give me an R. R. Give me another R. R. Put it together nice little R. All right. Let's get this damn anchor up. All right. Are you ready? Right. Are ready? 1, 2, 3. Come on, young fellows that follow the sea, to me. Way, hey, blow the man down. Now, please pay attention and listen to me. Give me some time to blow the man down. Way, hey, blow the man down. You got it right round then, I hope. All right, join us, my friend, as we head out to sea. To me, way, hey, blow the man down. You'll split your sides laughing, and sides you will see. Way, hey, blow the man down. Way, hey, blow the man down. Oh, there's tinkers, there's tailors, there's shoemakers and all. To me! Hey, hey, blow the man down. We'll all gonna be pirates. We're having a ball. We'll be some kind to blow the man down. Way, hey, blow the man down. Oh, to starboard, till harbour, till larboard, till deck, to will sprawl. To me! Way, hey, blow the man down. Our flapping jolly roger flies over us all. Oh, give me some time to blow the man down. Way, hey, blow the man down. And then the anchor's up. Pretty good, eh? And if you've got a bigger job, more verses, right? That was just a short version. Couple of verses just to give you the idea. If we kept on doing that, you'd probably fall over and hit your head. Your parents got upset with us. And that wouldn't work out right, would it? Because we've got a few more pirate things to go. Remember, if we were a hooked pirate, we'd only have that many. But we don't. Ah, that'd be right. Anyway, that be it. You've learned about the captain. You've learned about me pistol. You've learned a little bit about cannonballs and some about tactics. So you're learning as we're going along. Eventually, you're going to know all this stuff. And you'll just walk straight up to any ship and say, "Ha! I be a student of the good Captain Luke and Silly." But for now, we're going to stop. So avast there, me lovers, because it's time to finish. Are you ready? I'm going to pipe you down.